Let's move on to the next spot on the board. I'm just so locked in on these football games here. There's so much on the line for us to succeed, Cheshire. So, no, I'm all good. Let's move on to a huge one, a monster football game. Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida, 1 p.m. Eastern. San Francisco 49ers, 5-3, 2-2 on the road at the Jacksonville Jaguars, 6-2, 2-2 at home. 71 Fahrenheit showers and 12 miles per hour wind. Showers, not rain. We'll see how eventful that weather report is as we get closer this week. Both teams are coming in off of their bye week. Let's go into the line history here. The Niners opened up -3 at plus 101. That -3 got to plus 114. So on the other side of things, that Jacksonville +3 moved 14 cents in about 13 hours when this line became available. And then it came back to the Niners. So at this point, there's been a 7-cent move to the Niners at -3 at -106. Let's move on to the total then at this point. This total opened up at 44.5. It's now at 45.5. So we've had a 1-point move to the over. And when we get to the cash flow in this one, you have 41% of the tickets and 69% of the cash on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Feels like a sharp look. 42%. Oh, sorry. That's on the total. We only have 10,750 tickets in. They're not giving us a money percentage. 51% of tickets are on the over. Just 51% of tickets here. So 49ers were last seen suffering their third straight loss, 31-17 at home to the Bengals in week 8. 49er fans and anyone who just follows the team closely, you don't have to be a fan, have seen what they've done after the bye week. In Kyle Shanahan's career as a 49ers coach, their winning percentage before the bye week is tiny. They're 16 wins and 30 losses with a .347 winning percentage. After the bye week, they're 36 wins and 16 losses, and their winning percentage is .692. This team has scored 17 points in each of their last 3 contests. We got a market correction. Against the Vikings, San Francisco had just 65 yards on 22 carries. That's it. The running game was nowhere to be found. McCaffrey got 45 of those yards on 15 carries. Against the Bengals, the 49ers only ran 15 times with their running backs. If you look at their actual running attack, it's buoyed by, Purdy's running, not from their running backs. McCaffrey and Eli Mitchell combined for 56 yards on 15 carries. So Trent Williams is expected to be back in the fold, which will obviously help. McCaffrey's had an extra week to rest his oblique and rib issues. And the Niners will be without Aaron Banks. So Trent Williams is going to come back, but they're going to lose Aaron Banks at guard. He's going to be out for a few weeks with turf toe. The 49ers are 21st in opponent third down conversion rate. And it's really been highlighted in recent weeks. San Francisco allowed an average time of possession 33 minutes and 7 seconds over the last 3 weeks. That's the 4th worst in the NFL. Now, Chase Young will make his debut after being brought in from the Commanders for a 3rd-round pick, and Deebo Samuels is good to go. He returns to the offense. The Jaguars were last seen winning their 5th straight game, 2010 at Pittsburgh. They're sitting as the number 3 team in the AFC. They're just a half game behind the Chiefs and Ravens, but it's not all perfect in Jacksonville. If you break down their stats, they're 31st in the league with 9 fumbles, 3 by Lawrence, 2 by Bigsby. They're 23rd in red zone scoring. They're 22nd in third down conversions. I mean, these aren't very defensively. They've been really good. They're holding opponents to 16.2 points per game during this winning streak. They have lead the NFL with 18 takeaways over those 5 games. They picked up Ezra Cleveland from the Vikings at the deadline. They're hoping he'll be ready to go. He was dealing with a foot injury. They're also hoping to have Zay Jones back, a wide receiver, cornerback Tyson Campbell back, and free safety Andre Cisco back from injuries. And, they're 23rd with 16 sacks, and 9 of those are from Josh Allen. So obviously I'm a little upset that I didn't move on the futures with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I don't see it as I don't see either of these teams as the elite teams that, that people believe Jacksonville are, or that we thought San Francisco might be 4 or 5 weeks ago. Take it away for us here, Troy. Niners, Jaguars, Everbank Stadium, Jacksonville, Florida.
I turned out to absolutely loving this spot. The more I dug through it, and I ended up moving on it. We got 2 teams coming off a bye week. The Jags went in on a 5-game winning streak. 49ers on an L3. To me, it's just the perfect spot to buy low on this 49ers team. The Jaguars' 5-game winning streak consisted of the Falcons, the Bills, the Colts, the Saints, and the Steelers. It's not really impressive if you ask me. None of those teams were really in good form. And the Bills were coming off after a blowout, coming off of a win against the Dolphins in blowout fashion, and they had to go across the pond to play this game. Jags were waiting there for them. I don't think that 5-game win streak is very impressive, even though they have looked better throughout the course of the season. The Jaguars, I just, like I've been talking about all season, I don't know. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's hard not to. I've been saying all season long that I don't think that this Jags team is them. I don't think this is the team that gets over the hump. I think they have a lot more pieces that they need to add before they can do so. But we shall see. And the 49ers are coming off that L3. They're stifled by injuries. But, I expect the 49ers to be the much more motivated team in this game. And I think that they have key advantages, especially in the trenches. Defensive line, I think they'll dominate this Jags offensive line, which I think is below average and even below where they're currently being graded out on the scale. And offensively, I expect this offensive line to be able to execute versus this defensive line that's just 29th in pass rush and below average on run block win rate. San Francisco, I think they'll be able to run the ball effectively, and that'll open up play action. And Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are much better on the road than at home. So to me, it's just a perfect spot to buy low. Stick to my guns on this Jags team not being the team that gets over the hump. Laying 3 looked really appealing to me at first. I was, maybe hoping at first that I would get the 2.5, but when you go to the database, the strength of the full 3 on the road is pretty damn strong. Home dogs are +3 to 3.5 or 22 and 12 ATS the last 2 seasons. If this line closes at -3.5, it's a 10-4 ATS spot per the database. And home dogs just this season of +3 are 2 and 5 ATS. I have a sneaky suspicion that this line gets to 3.5 despite the sharp action that I think will continue to come in on the Jags. So this will be another spot, just like the Jets. I'm going to be fading the sharps. I'm taking the 49ers.
Have you moved on them already?
I did. I posted it. I put 2 units on this -3.
Ooh-wee. All right, let me get your action back up here because I know I did
You probably clipped it, and I ended up moving on this game.
Afterwards you did, yes, okay.
So what I do with this show, my process is I go in and I kind of benchmark the teams and talk about the games in general, and then my second time through in the afternoon, I kind of just check each spot in the database. So as soon as I came across this, I was like, why am I waiting for the 2.5? At the 2.5, I wouldn't like it as much as I like it now. And that's just the way I do it. So I'm going with the 3.
Exciting. At this point, I do not feel the need, to put my money on the line. I want to watch. And honestly, I said this about the Eagles last week. If the 49ers lose here and the Seahawks win, could I get a chance to get in on the 49ers to win the division? Could I get a decent number for them in the NFC? I mean, that's what I'd be more interested in at this point here. Saturate says, Jimmy, in your estimation, what percentage of the Niners' recent problems will be cured by Trent Williams returning? Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel being a weapon. But I think that the Trent Williams addition, it's taken away a little bit with losing Aaron Banks. So it's not the huge addition that you would think it was because, there is a subtraction involved with it, which will still be, an addition. This is, I don't want to buy the Niners low, and I don't want to sell the Jaguars high when it comes down to it. And I have 4 bets already. I'm looking to add that Saints spot, and I think I'll have enough action to let this go. And sometimes I need to say that out loud so that I don't just hammer things just to enjoy the day. It's more important to win. Troy Torrence on the 49ers. Now, for our show, it's just everything's 1 unit, but he's dropping 2 units on the San Francisco 49ers on the road against the Jaguars. We move on.